Claus brings us a lot of toys because he's a very nice guy.
Santa Claus, the jolly old cherry-faced spirit of Christmas. Everybody knows him, everybody loves him. But do you know the true origins of this magical fairy tale of a man? We are of course talking about Saint Nicholas, the true story behind this myth. Imagine it's the holiday season. All around you, you see Santa Claus, whether it's decorations, costumes, advertisements, or just Santa-themed cookies. There's no avoiding him. Santa is the face of Christmas. That's not all. There's also people frantically buying gifts and presents to give to their loved ones in time for Christmas. That tradition didn't just come out of nowhere. It all started with Saint Nick. It started from his constant giving and generosity. It started from his jolly nature and charitable goodness. The way we perceive Christmas today would be drastically different if it weren't for the spirit of giving that came from Saint Nick. Saint Nicholas started all this by giving up his inheritance to those more in need. It was with this gesture that Saint Nicholas started the age-old tradition and phenomena of giving is more important than receiving. This act helped him pave the way for the spirit of Christmas. This deed, along with others, led him to being the inspiration for the famous legend of Santa Claus, which is now embraced worldwide. The universal idea of giving has broken down the barriers of religions and has brought people together to embrace each other in the seasonal joy of the holidays. Saint Nicholas was born in Myra, which is now located in present-day Turkey. After his parents' tragic death, Nicholas inherited a large fortune. Subsequently, Nicholas became known for spreading and promoting Christianity, but he was eventually victimized for that. He was subjected to the arrests and tortures of the Diocletian persecution. The persecution was led by the Roman Emperor Diocletian and was known for imprisoning hundreds of Christians during the early 300s. Nicholas was tortured and placed in a prison for being the Bishop of Myra. He was repeatedly beaten and told to renounce his religion whilst imprisoned, but he never gave in and always remained strong. Eventually, the Roman Emperor Constantine rose to power and ended the persecution of Christians, as well as freeing all those who were imprisoned during. Saint Nicholas was then met with praise and cheers of his name as he was released from his imprisonment. He then continued on to be the Bishop of Myra and even attend the Council of Nicaea, a meeting of several bishops headed by Constantine to determine how the Catholic Church should be run. The origins of Saint Nicholas and all the traditions and legends that he inspired goes a long ways back. They come all the way from the 3rd and 4th centuries. Time has slowly changed them from their roots, but they still have the same principle. For instance, one of the most popular stories about Saint Nick is the legend of the 3 gold balls. The 3 gold balls is said to be one of the main inspirations for the idea of Santa Claus coming in the night and leaving gifts for young children. The story goes that there are 3 young girls. Their father is somewhat poor and isn't able to afford dowries for them, or money that they are supposed to give to their future husband as a gift for marriage. In order to make up for this, the father considers putting his daughters into prostitution so he would be able to afford to put them through marriage. This man also happened to live in the same town as Saint Nicholas. Nicholas had heard of the situation and decided to do something about it. Due to his wealthy parents' death, Nicholas had inherited a large fortune, which he had sought out to donate as opposed to selfishly keeping. One night after Saint Nicholas had heard of the man and his daughters, he visited their home. He then proceeded to throw 3 bags filled with gold into the house, which have now become represented by the 3 gold balls. There is another legend about how Saint Nicholas saved innocent prisoners from execution. During the reign of Emperor Constantine, there was a rumor that there was turmoil located in Asia Minor. To combat this, Constantine sent an army of soldiers who eventually ended up in Myra, where Saint Nicholas currently lived and was the bishop of. The soldiers then began to arrest and imprison innocent civilians without much cause. Once Nicholas had heard of the chaos, he took immediate action. He met with a number of soldiers and told them to end this senseless persecution. The soldiers obliged to the bishop, but Nicholas had been too late. 3 innocent civilians had been taken away and sentenced to death. Nicholas then proceeded to run across the city in an attempt to make it to the area where the innocents were to be beheaded. He managed to reach the executioner just in time to stop the blade before it reached one of the prisoners' necks. Nicholas then loosened the chains and released the 3 civilians to be free and return to their homes. Nicholas next met with the praesies, or the provincial governor of the area. Nicholas chastised the man for allowing such an atrocity to happen in the city and having done nothing to prevent it. The praesies then begged for forgiveness from the bishop and proceeded to clear the charges against the 3 civilians. St. Nicholas had finally resolved the entire matter and had all the soldiers return to their home before he himself resigned for the day. St. Nicholas continued on for the rest of his life, spreading his philanthropic message and promoting being generous and giving. He died on December 6, 343 AD, which has now become known as St. Nicholas Day. Nicholas was buried in Myra, where his tomb became a popular place of visit until 1087, when some Italian merchants stole the remains and swept them away to Bari, a seaport in southeastern Italy. There, a crypt church was built for him, which became known as the Basilica di San Nicola. The church is now visited by thousands all around the world to gaze at the beautiful, Romanesque architecture, or to take part in the annual festival of translating, or removing the relics of St. Nicholas and extracting the manna, a pure liquid said to have holy properties and healing powers. This tradition takes place every year on May 9th and is attended by such personalities like the delegate of the Pope, the Archbishop of Bari, and many other members of the Catholic and Orthodox clergy. The legacy of St. Nicholas became very much apparent several hundred years after his death. Over the years, St. Nicholas began to mold and shape into how we see him today. It mostly began in European countries where Nicholas became a story and legend for children. He became the embodiment of gift-giving and receiving on Christmas and St. Nicholas Day, as well as an incentive to prevent children from being naughty or disobedient around the holidays. Some of the earliest examples of this would be the English Father Christmas, which first sprang about in the 15th and 16th centuries, and Santa Claus, who originated in the Middle Ages and hails from Holland along with his helper, Zwarte Piet. St. Nicholas first came to America along with the Dutch in the early days of colonization. The Americans adopted St. Nick and the traditions associated with him, and that began the formation of Santa Claus. The majority of the transformation happened during the 19th century, with many illustrations and stories associated with him, as well as the name Santa Claus, an Americanization of the Dutch Sinterklaas. One of the most popular pieces of media to come out about him at this time was the famous poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Clement Clarke Moore.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there.
From there on, a common viewing of Santa came about with the white beard, red suit, gift-giving, sleigh riding, toy-making, and being an overall magic legend. Today he is everywhere, from commercials, first dating back to the famous Coca-Cola advertisements, to the Salvation Army bell ringers. Santa Claus and St. Nick have just become a staple in modern culture and have become great stories and examples for young children to follow. St. Nicholas today is known all around the world, from Mexico, where he is known as San Nicolas de Bari, to Germany, where he is Sankt Nikolaus. Even in the European country Georgia, St. Nicholas is known as Sminda Nikolazzi. This just helps to show how important St. Nicholas is in today's culture and how well known the message he was trying to spread is. St. Nicholas spreaded the message of being giving and generous by doing so himself with the multiple examples we listed earlier. Clearly he has succeeded in that by inspiring all of these stories and legends like Santa Claus or one of the many other traditions celebrated worldwide. Nicholas has done it all and has shown how important it is to be kind-spirited and charitable. Think of how much different things would be today if it weren't for St. Nicholas and his inspiration. No presents on Christmas, no young children writing letters to Santa Claus, and no face to represent the entirety of Christmas in the gift-giving season. There is no denying it, St. Nicholas was a very important and influential man. He really has become the spirit of Christmas, and there is no way that we can continue on without his morals. That is quite the legacy left behind, all originating from one mythical man.
The giver of every good and perfect gift is called upon us to mimic God's giving by grace, through faith, and this is not of ourselves.